I know what we're on to now. Here we go. This is good.
So kind of funny you should mention that thing about stem length, because I wanted to do a bouquet as well.
Aha, here we go.
And this is basically a bundle of Lepidium just tied in a parallel fashion.
Yeah.
Never mind the cable ties. It was just the only thing I had in the hand. I'm going to remove them. And then I've added Tifa grass, Aristea confusa, to sort of crisp it up a bit and make it a little bit, it's almost like a sort of a hurricane shape or a fountain shape. And then I just want to complete the whole bouquet by using chrysanthemums and chrysanthemums only.
So the Tifa that's used there, how have you connected it in? Is it at the base it's using the cable ties, but once you get up into the medium, how is it attached there? Are you wired in? Ah, really? So it's
stapler.
Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, fun.
One of my favorite work tools is the stapler.
Okay. Okay, so it's stapled. I have to say this, you know, this shape, this form that you've just created there. This is what I think a lot about in terms of your design shapes. Yeah, the designs you did in Shanghai were fairly groundbreaking, but you've done also some other interesting work too. You did yes, Charles, it has been stapled. Yes, it's been stapled. It's been stapled not to the Lepidium, to one another. You're only stapling the Tifa to itself. Yes, it's not being.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Leave the Lepidium.
Yes, it's been separate from the Lepidium. Yeah, the Tifa leaf is much stronger in terms of being able to accept a staple. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your forms that you create with things are so chic. I mean, they're so elegant. In the days of when you had your shop, was this the kind of thing that your customers loved?
Yes, and I sort of forced it a bit upon them. And now we're back to something that also is really close to my heart. That good old discussion that everybody has about, oh, I can't sell this or whatever, you know. We have to promote ourselves and the work that we do with passion. And if you don't believe in the product yourself, how the hell is your customer going to believe it? And I have a very, I definitely prefer a cleaner look. I know we've called this webinar minimalism, but it's not really minimalism either. It's more about a reduced way of looking at materials. You know, instead of mixing a gazillion of varieties, I very often tend to stick to 1, 2, 3, max 4, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. I try to sort of get my clients used to this approach, and I think we've succeeded fairly well. Yeah.
I think we have. Also, it's interesting that you're saying this about educating your customer bases. How often have I heard this phrase that, oh, my customers wouldn't like that, my customers would never go for that? So my next question is, have you ever tried it? Have you ever tried it? You know, and we've discussed before that in your shop, it could be that there was just a few varieties of flowers available.
Yes.
But in fair quantities.
In quite large quantities, yeah. And I told you this story earlier today about, I had a time where I had this thing where I tended to sort of, like, one week I would only have yellow flowers, the next week I would only have blue or something like that. I can be quite extreme. No kidding. And then of course, when when the season comes for those really beautiful dark black callas and fritillarias and that sort of thing, yeah, I could fill the whole store with only, you know, black as like super dark burgundy purple flowers. That's all I had. And then customer will come in, and then remember one woman coming in once and saying, "You only have black flowers?" And I said, Yeah, what more do you need? I mean, they're gorgeous. So I think that we need to sort of approach sometimes floristry a little bit more the way a good restaurant does in terms of food.
Yeah.
But you know, you come into the restaurant, you know it's a good restaurant, and they will tell you this is the catch of the day. This is the absolute best sort of resources we can get you. So at the moment, the mussels are, you know, the clams are beautiful. You know, you should eat Norwegian strawberries now because they're in season. You know, that sort of thing. We tend to, in this industry, to be like, oh, we need to have a little bit of everything. And by doing so, we sort of lose maybe a little bit of our refinement, I think. Yes.
I would agree. It's about creating who you are and what you do, and that's really what sets people apart. Is you know, we're living in a culture these days where so many customers, so many clients are besieging florists. Oh, I saw this on Pinterest. Oh, I saw this on Instagram. I want this reproduced and I've got a £5 budget, you know. Can you do this for €200? Oh yes, a floral arch, this, that, and the next thing. It seems to me that we've lost something because of this.
Absolutely. I think we've let our clients get the initiative part of the process, which feels really, really weird. I think we need to be much more proactive and go out there and say that, you know, let me get you an example. I've had brides in my store coming in and then, you know, and then, oh, we've heard you're the world champion. We want you to do the bridal bouquet, and it's going to be a little bit like this and this and that and that and this and this and that. And then if I have a bouquet in my hand behind the counter, I'll be like, you know, and then they'll obviously go, what? And then I'll say, but why the hell do you want me to do it? If you're going to tell me every step of the process, I'm going to do it. Do you go into a gourmet restaurant and you know, start tossing around in the kettle together with the chef at the kitchen? You don't. I mean, leave me some slack. I mean, I understand if you have sort of an overall feel or a concept or an ambiance or something you want to grasp, but we have to be the ones that do it for them because they don't know shit. The only thing they know is the latest Instagram or Pinterest photo. And I will not accept that as a work manual. So
good man.
So hard to sort of show the entirety of the bouquet in this angle, but you know, there's only a few mums in here, and I just want to focus on a nice shape. Very important detail. I see a lot of beautiful bouquets tied with a horrible binding point. It needs to be something beautiful. I like to use bonsai wire because it sort of gives a little bit of that jeweler's touch, if you know what I mean. There's something very neat about that and organized. And it's also the kind of bouquet that I think instead of plumping it into a big vase where you cover most of the goodies, it needs to be sort of almost hanging at the edge of a heavy vase. Bit more like that.
Yeah, it sits at an angle. Yeah.
Which
so
I find
actually,
a bit more cool.
For relatively little material, you produced a very large bouquet there.
Yes. And I could maybe have used a mum or two more, but I didn't have any more, so we'll leave it.
I've run out.
And that's the thing, I think.
I've had
this is a problem that I think every florist out there can relate to.
Okay, Yvette is asking if you can, Stein, before you take the bouquet, could you please bring the bouquet right close to the camera, the top of it as much as you can, right in.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like I said, I could have used a couple of more mums because now we ended up having a little bit of a triangle thing.
Yeah.
But I think I got the message through in terms of, you know, the silhouette of the bouquet and that sort of weaved sort of concept that translates into the cone shape thing that I was going for.
Yvette is asking, she's saying, have you seen an increase in the use of greens as a base for bouquets?
Oh, obviously. I mean, there has been a period with floristry where it seems like every product was like half a bucket of pistachio green because that was cheap from Italy, you know, and then you just stuffed everything into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit unfair towards beautiful greens, you know. So I guess I prefer when instead of just sort of stuffing it in there for the sake of volume, that you sort of have a more, what's the word? A more deliberate approach to how you use the material.
Yeah, quite. Okay. I would totally agree with that.